welcome. What I have here are 3 exalted 8-bound. But they're not going to be that for long because I'm going to convert them. De-chaosify them if you want. Comment down below if you hate me because I'm ruining your chaos. I'm going to make them Imperial compliant to a point. And I've started by cutting off all those ghastly and awful chaos symbols and bits, like some horns that were glowing where they shouldn't, the feet that had paws-like things, the corn symbols on these guys. What I'll do next is I'll try to fit them with, what do you call them? With armor. Because they come with these things, which are very interesting. They kind of fit badly, and I want to put something like this on them. Or at least 2 of them. Because one of them can use his normal armor. But we'll get there. I have to carve a lot of space inside here so we can fit them. Because they're quite bulky boys. Very bulky, in fact. It's going to be a nightmare. One huge issue I found is that no matter how much I stretch this, it doesn't look good when I put it on the miniature. It's just too big. So my first plan failed. I can't put the Traitors and Carafracti armor on them. So I'm just gonna have to go with the regular build of the backs they give us and the chest, which are, I guess some of them can fit without going all too chaosy on it, but it's getting to a point where it's stretching too much. So I've done a few modifications and they're kind of stupid and I'll have to find a solution for these things, but maybe I'll do. You see, when you put the back in, the back isn't supposed to be like this. The spiky bits and things there are supposed to be on top, much like, covering it like in normal Terminator armor. But I've decided I think I should try to force them together like this. And then I had a realization. I want to put Space Marine heads on these. And that means I'm going to have to do some work on the heads and probably get rid of these things, the butcher's nails. But we'll see. Right now it looks decent. I'll just let them to cure a little, and then I'll just start putting, Tartaros and Carafracti hands on them before I move on to, put real weapons in those hands. But we'll see in a few minutes. While the miniatures are resting and gluing, hopefully, what I'll do next is I'll cut up this chainsword and file away at the little hand thing so I can put it inside the Tartaros thing and create the first weapon for these brand new spanking devastators, or whatever, the Devourers, excuse me. That's what the world bearers call them, Devourers, or word bearers, world eaters. Normal confusion. Since I'll use these in my Horus Heresy project where I have chaos and imperial stuff mashed up together to a point where I'm trying to dechaosify them, I think this is gonna work pretty well. So the first weapon is done, which I am quite happy with the way it turned out, to be honest. I've had the worst experiments when doing this, especially when I tried to do Phoenix Guard and put, what were they again, Custodes, spear bolters, whatever, in the hands of Tartarus units. It was an interesting experience, I must say. But overall, this is the first one, and I think I'll pair it up with this Carafracti Lightning Claw, because I'm trying to mix them up a little. I know the problem with that one is that I won't really have enough open hands of the other kinds to mix them up that well, but I'll see what I'll do. I'll see what I do. And yeah, that's the first one. Now I have to think what I'm gonna do next, because there are quite options. There are many options, in fact, here. One that I like, and I'm not sure what to do with it, is the polearm. The polearm is quite amazing, but I think I can use I think that's supposed to be like a meat cleaver or something, I don't know. The axe, again, this axe, the chain axe, would be nice on one character, and I guess it would make sense if you think about it, let's be honest. They're world eaters after all. But I'll see. So after multiple minutes of thinking, I've decided I know what I'm going to do for the leader. I'm going to give him this Tartarus sword, power sword. Then I'm going to put one of those chain axes on these cataphractii lightning claws, which I think it's a pretty good idea. It's pretty neat. Now I only have one, and I'm thinking about giving him these things. But I have quite a few of those, so I'll have to see what I do. Maybe I can put another chain sword on something. I'll see. But so far so good. I have the weapons for 2 of them. And technically half of 1. I would want to have him go like double chain fists like this. But I think all the chain fists are on the same side. There's none on the left. They're all on the right. Which makes this complicated. I wanted to make the last guy very close and personal and give him chain fists. And since I only had those on the right side, I've made my own on the left. And now I just have to wait for everything to glue up and stick up together properly before I can put them on the miniatures. The first one of the lot is kinda done. I gave him the sword and I gave him the lightning claws, and so far so good. I can see there's some space that I have to make sure is filled up, but again, so far so good. I think it's decent enough. Let's move to the next one. I'm not gonna lie, I'm quite happy with this one. He looks very rough and tough and prepared to punch and stab at the same time, and also rend and tear, so that's pretty decent. So far, I like how these weapons are coming on them. I'm still gonna have to do some things though, some modifications here and there. But let's finish the leader then. Again, quite happy with how this came out. It looks genius in my opinion. Now I'm gonna let them dry up, glue together. What I think I'll do next is get rid of the chains from their belts, and then look into some head options I can put on them. It's a minor thing that I've done is that I've put Tartarus pauldrons on the leader on both sides, and yeah, he looks more distinguished. I have some heads now prepared for what's going to follow. 1 Mark III and 2 Mark VIs. Boy, it's gonna be weird when I try to put them in. So I'm gonna have to cut a few things. Maybe off the heads, maybe off the stumps that these things have. But I didn't think this through. I should have cut them before reaching this point. Oh well, let's see what happens. Much microplastic later, the heads are on, and they're quite horrible. This one looks decent. I think it would have worked if I had more Mark III heads for these other guys, because this one just looks weird, and this one looks weird again. But I've managed to fill up the gap so this one doesn't look that much like a belly dancer. Yeah, I tried to cut the chains, but I realized I should have done that beforehand, and now I'm kind of screwed because it's hard to reach and get in there, and it will probably look very ugly, and I have no way to solve that. So far so good. This is how I converted them. The only one I'm really happy with is this guy, because he really looks proper. He really looks like he's from the Horus Heresy. Has some markings from his legion on his knee, right there. Of course, big weapon and so on. I like this guy. I like how these things turn out on him, the weapons. The head again sucks. But I think I might do that again with other Terminators, just double chain fist. And this one I really liked until I put a head on, and then that ruined it for me. But I didn't have better heads, and I didn't think this through. But then again, I would rather do this and have them ugly like this than have to paint faces. Yeah, no thank you. It's better like that. And I'm not gonna give them the backpacks because I initially thought about giving them the backpacks, modifying the backpacks and the way I do them so they look, like normal backpacks for Space Marines. But these ones are huge. And since I'm gonna have them like Devourers and stuff, I think it's way better that they don't have backpacks, because Terminators don't have backpacks. Oh boy. These are quite ugly. But, for what it's worth, I'm content with them. That's a weird way to say. Because not every time, not everything you do will be perfect from the start. Sometimes it will work well until a certain point and then it messes up. But what's important is that you got there, you did the job to do it, and in the end, hey, looks semi-decent, right? You won't do well every time. But so far, you know what, even if they look weird and, let's be honest, broken, because they are, I kind of like the way they turn out. Of course, since if you reach this far, I have to include the usual shilling, like, comment, and subscribe to help the channel grow, and I'll see you in the next one.